Oh, that's how you spell his name. Moshe.
Moshe. Or Musha. Alright.
Versus the magicians.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Apologies for the late start. I'm going to pray, and then we're going to go ahead and get into it. So, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We just ask for you to forgive us of our sins as always, Father. Make known to us the areas that we need to improve, Father. We just thank you for protecting us and keeping us from all hurt, harm, and danger, Father. We thank you for healing our bodies and our minds, for giving us peace, Father. We thank you for being on the lure of a second chance, Father. We thank you, Father, for loving us sometimes in spite of ourselves, Father. And we just ask for you to continue to lead us and guide us into all truth and to make us aware and keep us from all the temptations and the deceptions that are out there, Father. All these things we do ask and pray in the name of your beloved Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen. So, staying in the same vein from last Shabbat, we're still dealing with. Do you remember what we were talking about last Shabbat?
Vaguely.
We were talking about serpentine spirits and dragons, and we went over.
And I've been saying that word a lot lately, all week.
Yeah.
Actually, I was
so
video game today and see, and I was like, "There's a word again."
Yeah. So we're going to continue in that vein, but before we do that, hold on. Hello.
Where you hiding at, brother?
We're at my house.
Oh, you having it at
Yeah, my back and knee wouldn't really let me move around. I put that in the group text.
Oh, I didn't see that part. So you're having one of my days?
Yes, sir.
Well, hey, we feel for you, but you have to over here. Let me, I'm just gonna pull everything out the back. Can you walk out the door or whatever? Something wrong with you there.
Okay, my wife will. She'll come to the door.
I don't know what's up.
Okay. Okay.
Man, but brother, I feel for you there.
Hey, Elder, I don't mean to be rude, but we just started. Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
All right.
Got you. All right.
Love you. All right. Hold on. Okay, apologies for that. Elder and his wife called, but before we get into that, there's a lot going on in the world, so we're going to watch a few videos about some of the stuff that's going on. So,
That's one of the things I like is that it's world news and it incorporates, or the word incorporates world news.
yeah.
Weird. It's like weird.
Well, because we got to know what's going on. So, again, these are just some videos in case you're not aware, for you to know. So here's one.
For you,
Fair use is for educational and training purposes.
Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream
Baby,
media.
the Taylors are going to come to the door. Probably Margaret.
We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media. This country is supposed to be about the land of the free for all. It has not been free for black people, and we are tired.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today. Racist protesters in Australia were seen marching and protesting and saying, quote, Australia for the white man. Everyone must go, end quote. These people have the audacity to claim that Australia is theirs. You cannot make this stuff up. Watch this clip, we'll come back. This is the most delusional thing I've heard in a long time. How in the world are these white human beings claiming that Australia belongs to them and everyone else should go when they settled in Australia? They unalived the indigenous people that lived there. They literally pushed them away and they set up their life there to live in someone else's land. And how they have the audacity to say, go away, this belongs to white people. Either they're trying to act stupid and they don't know better, or they really are that dumb and they don't know their history and they don't know that they don't belong there. Even them, they took someone's land, settled and harassed and unalived and pushed away a whole race of people so they can live there. It's just sad what we've been seeing around European countries right now. It was the UK, then Ireland, and now even Australia is joining the chat because they were also trying to speak on behalf of England and they were chanting Free England, which is crazy. Anyways, fam, let us know down below what your thoughts are about this hate towards black people and brown people, and they are willing to cause them harm. Let us know down below what your thoughts are about it.
So what are your thoughts on that? Literally marching saying all must go except for the white people.
Knowing the history of Australia,
Mm-hmm.
I had looked into it a little bit when I was younger. Australia was founded by criminals, supposed criminals.
Allegedly. Mm-hmm.
Alleged criminals, yes. And all of those alleged criminals were black.
Mm-hmm.
So you're mad that it became a thriving nation and you want to take that and say it belongs to you.
So all of this is going on
It's-
under the guise of like the immigrant crisis going on worldwide. It's not just here in the
Yeah, but there's no
Americas.
immigration there. Now, let me rephrase that. There is immigration, but it wasn't started on immigration. It was started on the unwanted.
Right.
And now the
People of color are the unwanted now, though. I mean, but you see this, and that's how you know that it's going to take like a miraculous thing to be able to save us. Because no matter where we go, everywhere across the world, all these European countries also are doing the same thing, clamoring the same thing. So it's going to take something major in order for us to be saved as a nation of people.
pause. What gets me is
Oh, it's the same video. Hold on.
Introducing the African Diaspora News
what gets
Channel.
me about it is
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Y'all can come in. Hey.
these people, they're gonna, if it was left up to them, they would push us all into a corner and then they would eradicate us.
Yeah,
Like,
literally. Hey. Shalom, elder. But yeah, but it's a spirit behind these people, and they don't even realize it, because we've been the backbone of the country, of the world, for a long period of time, and it doesn't matter. You know, we're seen as a threat to them, because again, according to statistics, their populations are dwindling. Like, they can't conceive enough because so many of them are actually dying off, and then not even having seed. So it's fear for what they've done to the world. Right, what they've done to all peoples of color. So now you see them literally marching, and not just Australia and other places, because they want the people of color gone. Right, like I'm saying, like it's a spirit behind them, and they know their end is coming. They know it's coming. Is this? Let me make sure this is not the same video.
Now, your gateway to stories
I think that's the
that
same one. So
overlooked
I'm gonna
by
skip that one, and we're gonna go to this one.
What also very much upsets me is why the public response seems uneven when it comes to black victims, right? Recently, anti-immigrant riots have erupted in the UK after 3 young white girls were murdered by a knife attacker, initially and falsely reported to be an African immigrant. Businesses have been destroyed, homes attacked, and mosques targeted, and people have been injured. Yet the murder of Daniel, a 14-year-old black student from London who was stabbed to death by a crazy white man while he walked to school, has not sparked the same level of national outcry. And yes, right, Mark is now in custody facing multiple charges. But the public outcry, the protests, the media frenzy, these haven't mirrored the reaction we've seen in the wake of this incident involving these 3 young white girls.
Because it's not about us, right? It's about them. But one of our kids can't even walk to school without getting stabbed because of this immigrant crisis, right?
What also very much upsets me is why the public response seems uneven when it
Hold
comes.
on. Go to the next one.
The irony here is almost tragic, right? Those who are now showing hostility were themselves descendants of settlers. The far right's actions reveals a profound misunderstanding of their own history and an alarming lack of empathy for the plight of modern day migrants, especially black migrants.
I don't know why that part of the video got cut off, but it was a barber, African barber over there in Europe.
Is that the one whose car got set on fire?
Could be, but I know they literally targeted him and beat the brakes off him.
That's a different one.
Huh?
That's a different. I know what you're talking about, the car.
With the car? Okay, that's a different one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you get the gist. Like all throughout the world right now, it's just chaos. And this is the next war that's coming is going to be a true world war, because all these other world wars, you know, African countries weren't necessarily involved, but this time, they're definitely going to be involved.
They don't want that kind of fight. Like,
Well,
the way they fight.
but they're choosing sides.
The way they fight, man,
But the technology, I mean, it has to happen for us to be safe. Like,
brutality is
you already know.
a nice way to put it.
yeah, you already know. Like they don't. I mean, our own people was cutting our own heads off. The homie tribe was cutting our heads off. So here's another one.
But because of, especially these days, the conversation about de-dollarization and BRICS, there's a lot of steps that are being taken by African countries towards exchanging or trading using their local currency. According to reports, Tanzania and Russia are working to increase bilateral trade using national currencies. Tanzania's ambassador to Russia, Andre Avetian, indicated that the two countries are actively working to increase bilateral trade by using their national currencies for transactions. Banks from both nations have already begun working on it. Russia has been on a mission to ensure that it can trade in Africa without depending on the dollar.
So a lot of other African nations are doing the same thing. They're siding with China or with Russia.
At one point in time, they were all trying to go to the yuan. I remember it was like 2 years ago. They all
Yeah.
wanted to
Oh,
go
that's
to
still the
yuan.
plan. But what they're doing is they're making currencies based off of natural resources, not based off of the U.S. debt system, right? And so that's how you know it's gonna come to a head, because in order for these elites to stay in power, they have to keep this fake fiat currency based system. But everyone else wants to go to the genuine article. Like Africa's got the most resources in the world. And so they were like, well, y'all are coming over here and taking everything. We might as well benefit from it now, right? That's why they kicked out the United States in certain countries, especially in Western Africa. They kicked out Germany. They're kicking out all of these quote-unquote Western powers, but they're accepting Russia and China. And so that's why it was imperative for the USA to move their headquarters of the UN to Nairobi, Kenya, so they can still have a foothold in case, because they knew it was going to happen. Just like you were talking about that guy, Ibrahim, right? One of the new leaders. They just try to kill him again because he's leaving everything Western United States, everything. So they keep paying people to try to kill him because he's not no puppet leader. And
Like Gaddafi wasn't.
right, that's why they killed him. Absolutely. They killed him. So this is another video further proving that.
Especially these days, the conversation about de-dollarization and BRICS, there's a lot of steps that are being taken by African countries.
I don't know why the same videos keep playing twice. I didn't put them in there twice. So, I mean, you get the gist. I'm going to get off of the news because it keeps bringing this stuff up now. But in case y'all aren't aware, now China is becoming the leading supplier of arms to African countries. So again, further getting away from America. Everything against America. So that's why you start to see congressmen and senators talking about, hey, we need to go over there. They can't govern themselves. You know, they're not civilized enough. Everything, right? Because now our hand can't be in the cookie jar no more. Because a lot of African countries are waking up to what we've done and trying to get to this.
It only took them 500, 600 years. You know, it only took
They was a little slow on the uptake because, you know, they thought of them as friends and then they had to learn the hard way. Right?
Yeah, but come on now. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But 500 years of it? Come on now, that's idiocy.
I mean, that's witchcraft. Yeah, that's witchcraft. That's what it is. Because, like, they would keep doing it, and like she was saying, they keep killing the leaders that would buck against the system, and then everyone else, out of fear, will keep perpetuating the same curses over and over again.
It's like on a plantation, on any given plantation back then, like let's say it's a major plantation. On any major plantation, there were 800 to 1,000 slaves. You got the master, the mistress. They had probably 3 kids, and then you got 6 overseers.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me 800 people are scared of 6, 7?
That's where
That's why Nat Turner's my hero.
I mean, but like when that gets beat into you so bad, even like with animals, like you keep them locked in a cage for so long, and then you can leave the gate open, they'll never come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It just happens because like we're creatures of habit, and when you add trauma on top of that, huh?
What do you do to your children? Socializing them. You do the same thing to your children.
Have to, yeah.
That's why we have to behave a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you kind of have to go back to the prophecy, and you know which one I'm talking about. I can't remember which book, but it said that about the shaking of a leaf would end up scaring.
Yeah, trembling heart.
You,
Yeah.
but, you know, and at one time, you know, 10 of us could put to shame, you know, 1,000, I guess, if I'm correct with the numbers. But then he said we would get to the point because of our unfaithfulness and disobedience that a shaking of a leaf. Well, that's kind of when you talk about the plantation.
Yep.
You know, you got 8,000 of us that could have definitely taken care of, say, maybe 20 of them.
Right. Quick.
And I mean, but that's kind of that same, the shaking of a leaf. You know, but
No.
now, what did he say? And he said in the last days he's going to start raising up his people. We got a tendency to think that it was just American,
Nope.
just us, his people in America. But that's all over the world. He's going to raise up men to go ahead and do his work. So.
Because saviors are supposed to be coming down, and like you're completely right. Because you were talking about Deuteronomy 28 and Leviticus 26. Those are the curses for disobedient, and very few of them scare us. Let one cop come to a block party. Everybody's scared. People leaving, driving off from one cop. You know, let you be in a workplace, and then y'all grouped up, y'all talking. One person, of a different hue
supervisor
comes around, and then we scared and we act like we doing stuff, jucking and jiving. I mean, those are evidences of the curses.
I was
and
never that dude. I was always the one. What y'all running for?
Yeah.
Why you running? You got something to hide? I don't.
Yeah, like, and then you got to act all different, but again, like he was saying, like that was saying, like that's the curses. Now, there's some other stuff going on. I hope this video actually plays. Let me see.
It's 2024 and influencers are still dropping like flies. 3 years on, and we continue to see young and previously healthy people from all backgrounds dropping dead. But why is this happening? In June of this year, a prominent YouTuber with a large following running the YouTube channel called Pretty Pastel Please unfortunately passed away. Now, she was only 30 years old, and the diagnosis was lymphocytic myocarditis. This is a condition of the heart. Now, whilst this used to be uncommon, this year has seen a long list of influencers who have seemingly died suddenly and unexpectedly for no apparent reason. It comes off the back of another prominent influencer named Farah El-Khadi. She was an architect. She died of a cardiac arrest while she was on vacation in the same month. Now, she was only slightly older at 36 years old. And just 3 years older than her, viral TikTok influencer Dr. Tatiana Gulawate sadly passed away a few months just before in March. Now, it doesn't seem as though the cause of death was reported for this one, although there is a report of a potential brain aneurysm. We also saw the death of yet another influencer in the same month. This was after a year-long battle with cervical cancer, which was pretty fast-acting, and she was only diagnosed the year before. Her name was Jessica Petway, once again, just 36 years old. A lady from Brazil who ran a similar channel. She had a large following. She was 35 years old. She also died of a heart attack at the start of December. Also in Brazil, this time last year, Larissa Borges, she died of a double cardiac arrest. So we're starting to see a very strange pattern here. Women in their early to mid 30s primarily, who are passing away for seemingly uncommon and rare conditions. I mean, it's just a coincidence that some of these influencers were publicly advocating for a certain medical procedure. And it's clear now that news outlets are forced to report on this. They simply cannot deny it. So here we have women's heart attacks rising, particularly among those 30 to 50 years old. So this is definitely a thing, guys. The same goes for turbo cancers. In fact, if we look at this graph here, we can see cancer rates have risen exponentially since 2021. Of course, the cause is a complete mystery. And actually, on this topic, in a tragic twist of...
So, most of the deaths are from cardiac arrests from you know what. They're not going to tell you what it was, but that was around 2020. What happened in 2020, 2021? People started doing what?
We know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
the Fauci ouchie.
The Fauci ouchie. I like that one. I think I'm going to keep that one. So, yeah, this Fauci ouchie, and then, of course, they're not going to say that it's related to that.
No,
but you got these young, healthy people. Like, if you really look it up, there's like lots of people that just drop it out of nowhere. Younger than us, for no reason. Like, healthy, in shape, working out. Yeah, I mean, I forgot. Was it you or was it Bam told me about some people here? Same here, you know.
Yeah, there was a few of them here that passed away. I got a god sister that's a nurse, and you know she was all for the shot and da 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 da. And I kind of wish I would have never took it. I said, yeah, your countdown started. She looked at me like I was crazy. I said, yeah, you don't think that? Yeah, you done. I told Mama that. Mama was like, I got my follow up. I said, Mama, I love you, but I'm already planning for your funeral.
Oh man.
You put something in, Mom. Our generation of military are survivors of anthrax.
Yeah.
They literally shot us up with anthrax. What do you think they're doing to you?
Yeah, and we don't know what all was in any of those shots.
Come on, man. They came up with that vaccine in 90 days or less, unless they already had it because they already knew it was coming. But if you're gonna, let's say, hypothetically speaking, for all intents and purposes, this is just a hypothetical statement that if you're going to create a virus to affect the world, to affect global change on the masses, then you see that it didn't do what you wanted it to do. Now you create something to help further along that global change, and you don't expect there to be long-term results.
Yeah, I mean, the scary thing was they didn't know what would be the side effects, so it was made so fast. You know, that's why a lot of people didn't trust it. But I just, showing people that it's like a lot of this stuff. Again, the news ain't gonna talk about it, but it's happening a lot more than what people are realizing. Again, this is fair use for educational training purposes. So that's going on. And now we've talked about this.
And influencers
that's not it. I don't know why it keeps doubling it. It keeps doubling every video. I didn't do that. So we've talked about this before. I'm not even going to play this video. But they talked about how all of the military-aged men from China keep coming across the border. Keep coming. They're going by farms. They're going next to military plants, nuclear plants. And they're organized. This guy even goes on as far as to say that they come with instructions on exactly where to go, who to talk to, and what they're supposed to do. They have a whole blueprint once they get here. And he talked, like in this video, it just talks about how the war of China that's going to be fought here, because they're everywhere. It's getting to the point to where it's hundreds of thousands of military-aged men now, and people over here still in La La Land worried about a so-called election.
Take my gun.
Right, an election, right? When the government is allowing this to happen, right?
These people, just quick segue. These people that are constantly worried about the vote and constantly worried about left and right wing, not realizing that it's a whole bird that needs to be taken out. That's neither here nor there.
Right.
All they're concentrated on is that one thing. They're taking away my gun. They're taking away my gun. So let's really figure this out. I have 3 in my hand. I have almost every neighbor on my street has at least 3. So you mean to tell me they're gonna go house to house and round up every one of them, registered and unregistered? These people got to wake up and see that that's not it.
No,
it's unfathomable.
Yeah, that's a propaganda piece that's used to incite people. All they're trying to do is continue chaos and division. They want to keep us in that spirit or frequency, so when the stuff really gets bad, we ain't going to be trusting nobody anyway. And then the people that are too liberal, that are willing to give away their guns and give away their rights, I mean, it's pretty much going to be over for them anyway. They're going to be informants on us anyway. So those are the people that they're going to be monitoring spirits for us. We're like, well, we gave ours, so why can't you do the right thing? Why can't you do the right thing? Like, hey, guy, this ain't got nothing to do with you. But that's really, that wasn't really the point. I'm just trying to make sure people are still prepping for what's coming. Because a lot of people don't think a war is coming, don't think it could ever happen here, don't think that they need to prepare. We got to keep prepping and keep, going forward. So now we can get into the lesson. I'm going to skip this because that was about a 6-minute video. It's a good one, though. If y'all want it, I could probably send it to you on email. So, a recap, right? So last time, we were in Genesis 3. And we're not doing a full recap. I just pulled certain things. Genesis 3, specifically, verse 1. Now it says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahuwah had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath Yahuwah said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden. So, the serpent was the most subtle. Now, do y'all remember what the word subtle meant from last week? Sneaky. Deceitful, conniving, right? All those words. It was the word arum, right? Or arum. It means crafty, right? Shrewd, sensible. But there was one word that really stuck out, and it was prudent, because that means that he was doing things planning for the future, right? Very subtle. He always had the future in mind when he came to Eve, right? Or when the serpent came to Eve. Let me not put a sex on it for somebody to say something, right? But why was the serpent so subtle, right? Had an agenda. Absolutely had an agenda. And we went to the first book of Adam and Eve. We went to chapter 17, right? 17 and 18, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then as it said, then Adam and Eve came out at the mouth of the cave and went towards the garden. The curse of the serpent. But as they drew near to it, before the western gate from which Satan came when he deceived Adam and Eve, right? They found a serpent that became Hasatan coming at the gate and sorrowfully licking the dust and wriggling on its breast on the ground by reason of the curse that fell upon it from God, right? So it wasn't like there was just a being called Satan, right? He became that, right? The adversary, because that's all Satan means is adversary. So there's many Satans, right? So again, so this happened. Now, according to this chapter in the lost book of Adam and Eve, this was after they fell, right? Because they were at the cave of treasures. And then it says, and whereas aforetime the serpent was the most exalted of all beasts, and then he became the most hated. Nobody would eat around him, drink around him, because he was venomous now, right? right? And so we went to Isaiah 14, and this is where you get the concept of Satan, right? Verses 12 through 15. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in your heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Elul. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north, or heaven. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet you shall be brought down to Sheol, to the sides of the pit. So this is where you get that concept of a literal Satan, right? But again, it's not really explaining why he's so subtle. But then again, we went to Revelation 13. I'm not really going to reread that, but it talks about the dragon. Because a serpent is really a what? It's really a dragon, right? Goes back to that word dracon, right? And the world has been worshiping this thing. There it is, dragon, right? A great serpent, a name for Satan. So then we went to chapter 18. I'm going to keep moving. Come on. And then it talked about how once the snake or the serpent saw Adam and Eve, and he was so mad because he had fallen to this state with no arms and legs or nothing. He wasn't beautiful or the most exalted anymore. He lunged after them, but specifically after Eve. And then, Adam was so scared because he didn't have a stick or anything to protect him, a staff, right? And so he finally grabbed him by his tail and lifted him up. And the serpent was like, this is y'all's fault that this happened to me. Y'all did evil to me, knowing that he caused us to fall from our higher estate. Because again, the angels, they used to be scared of us when we're in that state, right? We could become like, I'll liken it to like a Moses type of a figure, right? But once the fall came, then we became scared of all of the spiritual everything. The luminaries, everything was scaring us, according to the books of Adam and Eve. And so Adam has a hold of the snake, and then the snake is still so strong, even though he has his tail, he ends up just throwing him. And then the Most High ends up having to send his angel to protect him. So what was the one thing that stuck out from the book of Adam and Eve that we didn't really know? Well, let me say that the scriptures as they are constructed doesn't tell us. Do y'all remember?
That one thing that stood out for me personally?
Yeah.
Or just as a group?
Both.
I'm going to go from my personal standpoint. My whole life I thought it was the devil, Satan, Lucifer, however you want to put it, in the garden. And I always had questions. And then to find out that it wasn't him, or wasn't him, however you want to word that, that it was a being that came down, transformed into a snake, or I'm so listen. Yep, that part.
Okay, we'll read that real quick.
Because I'm trying, that hurt my brain trying to wrap my mind around that.
So, huh? Not Gabriel. That's close. No. So, serpent, he held it by the tail when it turned towards him, and like I said, he threw him. Deprive you of speech. So, when Adam was naming all of the animals, did he name the serpent? No.
Okay.
Y'all remember that he didn't name it because the Most High, he knew that we would probably be afraid of that being, right? Because it was so powerful looking and well, I don't want to say magical, but it looked like majesty. It looked like royalty, right? And so he specifically kept the serpent away. So that's one of the reasons why Eve was so beguiled by this serpent type of a figure, right? And then once the angel throws the serpent away, where did he throw him to?
Over there to Southeast Asia.
Yeah, India. Right.
Oh yeah.
India.
Where they can do, they start doing snake charming dances. I think I seen that in Thailand.
Yep. See?
But it was Gabriel, but it was
You're close. It's not Gabriel, but it's close.
what is the name?
We're going to read it again. We're going to read it. You're close. And so we talked about how I know. I'm my bad. So we talked about how there's global serpent worship, right? Global serpent worship. It was in India. We knew about that, right? It was also in the Americas. It was in North America, right?
Here.
Yeah, it was here.
One of the Indian tribes, indigenous tribes.
Yeah, a lot of the indigenous tribes. It was also in Mesoamerica. They would actually have a feathered serpent. Remember we talked about Quetzalcoatl and if you could Kukulkan or however you say these names. Yeah, it was in China. You know, it was in China. You know, Japan. It's everywhere. South America, everywhere basically you can think of. There's been a serpent that's been worshipped. Now, I don't believe in coincidences. How could all of these nations, all across the world, end up worshiping a serpent? There's got to be something else going on.
Makes you wonder.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. So we read all this, make you tremble in fear. So I'll just read this part. I did not let the serpent come with them, talking about the other animals, lest it should rise against you, make you tremble, and the fear of it fall into your hearts. For I knew that the accuser, the accursed one, is wicked. Therefore would I not let it come near you with the other beasts. But now strengthen thine heart and fear not. I am with you unto the end of the days. I have determined on you. Right? So the Most High is reiterating, I'm still with you. You ain't got to worry about the serpent. You don't have to. Then we went back to Genesis 3. Right? And I'm just going to keep going. But to fully see that, we finally went to the book of the Watchers, or Enoch, right? So now we're going to get the name. And it's on verse 10. And the third was named Gadriel. He it is who showed the children of men all the blows of death, and he led astray Eve, and showed the shield, and the coat of mail, and the sword for battle, and all the weapons of death to the children of men. And from his hand they have proceeded against those who dwell on the earth from that day forevermore. So this Gadriel possessed this serpent. So the serpent was really, in essence, a monitoring spirit, right? That Gadriel, who wasn't even like the highest level of angel, right? He was the second tier, but he was still over certain levels of angels or demons, right? And so he led Eve astray, but then he also taught men how to put on armor, and then how to kill people, and where you stab, and how, you know, different military tactics that we really weren't supposed to know, because we're not supposed to really be killing people like that. So that's why they had to fall, and they have a greater torment that's coming to them. That's why they're trying to torment us in any way that they can, every way that they can. We talked about that. All of this has to do because it was a serpent. And again, all these other nations were worshiping a serpent. This all had to do with, what was the word? What kind of energy was it? It was called draconian or dragon energy. Right?
They was all saying, Kanye West said that to somebody, didn't
Right. Kanye West said that talking about Trump. Right? Said, hey man, you know, you like him or hate him, you know, I love him, but you know, we are both dragon energy, right? Because the elites, they actually feed off this energy, and that is actually their source of power that a lot of them are utilizing to keep us bewitched under witchcraft and under subjection to them, right? Dragon energy. So dragon energy is also known as draconian magic. It's more than mere fantasy. It's esoteric, so it's like hidden. It's derived from the Greek word dragon. And so in this type of magic, they literally channel dragon spirits. You can literally order books about this stuff, and there's a lot of them. There's people that have all kinds of YouTube videos when they're talking about how they've channeled and summoned all these different dragon energies and spirits, and they talk about the experiences that they've had, the enlightenment, the healing, the power. But then they said you got to be careful because there's certain things that you can't do, or else you're going to have a bad experience, or you may even die from it, right? So that's pretty much it on that. So now let's get to today. Today we're going to Exodus 4. And Brandon, if you don't mind, will you read that?
Moses answered and said, "But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, The Lord hath not appeared unto thee." The Lord said unto him, "What is it? What is that in thine hand?" He said, "A rod."
So, what had just happened to Moses?
The burning bush.
Right, the burning bush had just happened, right? And the Most High was getting ready to send him to do what?
To free his people.
To free his people. So my next question for you is, what is a rod? Do you remember? Huh?
A stick. Like that one your son was carrying around.
But what is it? In an Eastern mind, y'all remember?
Oh,
Was used for culling stuff out, like culling,
Culling stuff?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a shepherd's rod.
Yeah.
Right, like a shepherd's rod. Is that all it was used for?
Beating kids.
Again, an Eastern mind, right?
Yeah.
So y'all remember, which we'll eventually get back to talking about it, but it also means a branch or a tribe, right? It's the word mata. And if you look at what it says here, almost at the bottom, it says a company led by a chief with a staff originally is what it meant. A company, right here, company led by a chief with a staff is what that means. So it's a chief ruler, right? So if you think about it in context, when the Most High created the heavens and the earth, right, his angels would have been his staff. They would have been his chief, right? But what happened? 200 of them fell, and then the one beguiled Eve, and they were cast down and thrown down to the earth, right? It was a great falling, because they were supposed to be, it even talks about right here, supporting a support of life, or a bread of life to us. They were watchers, but instead they only wanted to do what they wanted to do. They wanted us to worship them. They wanted to have sex with our women, and they were jealous of us, right? Because we were literally made in the image of the Most High. They don't have that distinction. They were made. They're higher so-called beings, but they were made to be subservient to us. And a lot of times we forget that, right? And when you forget that, then that's when you end up worshiping things that you should not be worshiping, right? So again, a staff is more than a staff. It also means a branch, a tribe, right? A company led by a chief, right? So we're going to keep going.
This still goes back to the African village culture.
Uh-huh.
The chief has the staff.
Always, yeah, because it's a symbol of authority, of leadership.
Right. That's correct.
Right. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Brandon.
And he said, "Cast it on the ground." He cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. Moses fled from before. Wow. And the Lord said unto Moses, "Put forth thine hand and take it by the tail." And he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand, that they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee.
So you read in verse 3, and he said, cast it on the ground, and he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he did that. Then the Most High told him to do what? To put forth his hand and grab it. So symbolically, what is that also representing? Right? Because we just talked about how the angels would have been his staff, and he cast them to the ground because they were wicked. So the first thing that he ends up getting Moses to do to prove that he's the Most High is turn it into a serpent. Like, why a serpent? You know, out of all the miracles that you could do, that's the first thing that you want to do.
The better question, though, is,
Go ahead.
Going back to the Lost Book of Adam and Eve, grabbing it by the tail.
You caught that too. Good.
I was like, that's why when I was reading, I said, wow, that's what I was talking about. Grabbed it by the tail.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, okay.
He did. He grabbed it by the tail because he was trying to protect his wife, right? His shot.
And you know what's kind of interesting there is this in Exodus 4:5 there, and here you have, you know, what you talk about Abraham Torah. You got, here it is, the God of Abraham, you know, is gonna show make. So you know, I'm just thinking in my mind, you know, because he is our, you know,
cousin
bloodline. He's our cousin and stuff. So he's raising all this sand over there. So his God is our God. So I don't know. I'm just throwing something.
It is kind of I don't want to say a coincidence, but the timing is interesting that he ends up getting raised up to be a leader when these West African countries are raising up against the West. West African countries raising up against the
Wait, y'all
West.
talking about present time right now?
Present time, yeah. This like Sahel. He's one of the I guess presidents or new. I don't know if they're calling him president, the new leader of one of the West African countries, and they're kicking out Western powers. Like, no, y'all got to go. Like, we're done dealing with y'all because y'all don't deal fairly with us, right? So again, like my mind kept going back to like why with the first example of power, the Most High would give him power to turn a staff into a serpent, and then give him power to take the serpent back, and nothing happened to him, right? Because I'm like that's interesting. At least to me, that was interesting.
You want to get the head. I was always get the head of the snake, kill the head of the snake, and don't grab it by the tail because it can flip around and.
Yeah, but if you're gonna grab the head, you better not miss, or you gonna get that snake
I
bite.
can tell you from experience, grabbing the head is harder than grabbing the tail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grabbing the head, if you don't come from directly behind it,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna see you because the eyes are like this.
Yeah.
They're not just vertical and see here. They're like this. They have a whole view front and they have a partial view to the back. So if you don't come directly, it's kind of like when you go to catch a fly. If you don't come from the back of the fly, you won't catch it because it can see everything around it.
Right.
You have to come directly from the back of it. So when you're going to grab a snake, you grab it here, and you have to be fast.
Where?
Grab like if you're grabbing it by the head, you need to grab it from behind the neck
Okay.
and squeeze at the top.
Yeah. So they can't.
So it can't.
Yeah.
So
Can't open
it's like
your
when you
mouth.
squeeze at the top, it's like grabbing the cat by the nape of the neck. It's the same concept. That's why a lot of people that are going to go kill snakes, they'll let it get past them. They'll grab them by the tail and just whip them.
Yep.
All they're doing is whipping because it snatches the vertebrae and it pops out of place and makes the cause the snake to be inactive. And they smack the head on the ground, take it on and kill it. Take it on and cook it.
Yeah, I'm not grabbing no snake by the head. that ain't.
Well,
happening.
now that explains why women are generally we all afraid of snakes. Goes back to that Eve.
Yeah, it's trauma. The initial trauma, right?
They say trauma that ain't DNA. Yes, it is.
Yeah, 100% is in DNA. So, again, the angel would have been a staff. The Most High ended up tossing it down, right? Casting them down because Adam couldn't cast it down because he got cast down with the angels, right? The fallen ones, right?
Ooh.
Adam. He ended up getting cast down because we fell from grace, right?
Oh, okay.
From
okay.
eating from the tree that we weren't supposed to eat
That
from.
was always a question of mine too. The timeline in terms of being cast. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Look, like when Adam fell from grace and when the angels, did their.
Keyword timeline.
There she. Because there's been different timelines of angels falling because you got to think there were giants before the flood and after the flood, but during the flood the Most High killed them all. How did they end up coming back? Some of them did survive, but then how do they keep coming back? Because angels keep falling. Like it's not there's nothing new under the sun. Like, if they fell before, why couldn't they fall later on? Other ones, only like the elect of the elect are going to stay with the Most High. Just like in us, only the elect are really going to be with the Most High, right? But it says that he cast down the staff, the tribe or whatever, and it became a snake, right? Moses. Back to Moses now. So I was like, well, let's look into cast down, right? What did cast down mean? So cast down, this is really crazy. It means to cast out, cast down, cast forth, cast off, right? Everything is lining up, right? To throw, right? But it's something that's getting thrown down, just like the angels fell, right? So I was like, okay. So what about the ground? Like, so when the angels got cast down, where did they get cast down to?
Down to the ground, to the earth.
To the earth, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Terra firma, would that be correct? Terra firma against the earth?
Yeah, I mean that's the terminology for it, but if they got cast down to the earth, just thinking, how come we don't see them? like that.
Well, who said we don't?
I'm saying like that. Of course, they can change their appearance to look like us. I understand that. But why is it not like a normal occurrence? If they got cast down to the ground like that.
Maybe they're under the earth.
Huh?
Maybe they're under the earth.
So, what did the word ground mean? Because he cast it to the ground. So I'm just looking, right? So the word for ground in Hebrew is what, Elder?
What's that be? Terra firma.
No, for in
ground?
Hebrew.
Uh,
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's the word eretz, right?
okay.
Eretz. And it means earth, country, ground, world, way, common, nations, wilderness. Now, it can also mean country, district, tribal territory, piece of ground, land of Canaan, inhabitants of the land, or what? Sheol.
Yeah. Hell.
Hell. It's a different dimension. So they got cast down. That's why we can't always see them. They're in a different dimension like that. But a lot of them still have purview to be coming back and forth and looking, because they send out monitoring spirits, let them know who's doing what, who they can attack. But you have to think about it in that mindset. So the first thing the Most High is showing Moses is, hey, you're going to have power to cast this thing down to earth or into Sheol, and then you have power to take it back up. So he was given authority. He was just showing them, hey, with me, you can do all of this stuff. But it's a reason the snake was the first example. Because, again, because we're going to keep going. But that was just bothering me. I'm like, all these wonders that you did, raining down fire, turning the mountain into a volcano, all this stuff. But that's not what the first thing that you really want him to see as a power move, right? So we're going to keep going. So go ahead, Brandon.
The Most High said, furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. White as snow?
Yeah.
Leprosy is white?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic trick.
Wait
Magic trick.
No.
Yes. That's how. Huh?
That's who has the curse.
Yes.
Not black. White.
Right. Yeah.
I
Everything.
wonder why I like this place.
Everything is so backwards. Like everything is on his head. It's like it don't make sense.
And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh.
So to stop you right there, that's why in the 10 Commandments movie with Charlton Heston, they made sure they did not have that scene on there.
Sure did.
Because he couldn't do it. Think about it. We've all seen the 10 Commandments movie, right? Comes on every Easter or whatever time frame, right? When they're celebrating Easter, there's a reason why they didn't put that scene in there, because his hand was already leprous as snow. So that wouldn't have been a marvel. That wouldn't have been a miracle. Go ahead.
Question. Okay, that brought up a song that I've listened to since Kirk Franklin first came out. White as snow.
I haven't heard it.
White as snow. You don't remember that? Okay. Freaking. He washed them white as snow. The reason why that even popped up into my head is because he pulled his hand down and it was leprous as the snow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make the correlation and my brain is just not braining
So
right now. But
when the scriptures talk about making you your garments white, it didn't really talk. So leprosy is a literal skin disease, right? Now the Bible, the scriptures does say that if you have it all the way throughout your skin, you're considered clean. It does say that, but you can tell even from that that's not the norm, right?
would that be vitiligo?
It could be.
That's a dirty leopard. If you want to, I know it sounds we're politically incorrect in saying that,
Right.
but
Dirty leopard?
vitiligo is a form of the dirty leopard.
Yeah.
They're not clean. They're not considered clean until they all the way white.
Yeah, all the way from the ruler to the tutor.
My
So-
mom got it because of skin cancer.
Hmm?
My mom has it because of skin cancer.
Well, back in the olden days, they wouldn't like that. 'Cause that was not the norm for
Pick
our
a color.
people. No, for real though. Like you got to think about like how colonized our minds have become, because you read a scripture like that and you're like, wait a minute. So Moses couldn't have been quote unquote so-called white. There's no way. It's just not possible.
There's no way he was a pink toe.
Exactly. But keep going, bro. Keep going.
And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river and pour it upon the dry land, and the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land.
So he was going to have to do all these three signs if they didn't believe. You know, our people, they would never necessarily believe, right? Always have to have a sign.
They didn't have any distractions back then.
I mean, there's always distractions.
I get frustrated reading this stuff. Because I'm like, dude, you didn't have YouTube.
Yeah.
You camel, but that's about it.
Camel tooth. Go ahead.
And thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth, and I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do.
So he's talking about Aaron right there.
Yeah.
Did we miss one?
I think we did.
Yeah, read verse 10, my bad.
And Moses said unto the Most High, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore. Wow. Okay. Neither heretofore, nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue.
So he wasn't really good at speaking Hebrew because he had been gone for 40-some years, right? Okay, now read verse 12 now. We should be.
Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt say. And he said, O my Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send.
So send me with somebody that can talk for me, please. I don't speak Hebrew good enough.
Because I didn't understand that sentence.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what he was saying. He was saying, send somebody with me that speaks the language better. Because again, he had been in Midian, he had been in Cush. He's not really speaking Hebrew, right? He's been speaking other dialects, so they can't really understand him, right? Okay, keep going.
And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, Is not Aaron the Levite thy brother? I know that he can speak well, and also, behold, he cometh forth to meet thee, and when he see thee, he will be glad in his heart.
Right.
And thou shalt speak unto him, and put words in his mouth, and I will be with thy mouth, and with his mouth, and will teach you what you shall do.
So just get him, and I'll be with both of y'all. Tell y'all what to do, right?
And he shall be thy spokesman unto the people. He shall be he shall be to thee instead of a mouth, and thou shalt be to him instead of a God.
What? What did he just say?
Wait, please explain that.
Huh? So Moses had become exalted, so he became like a god to Aaron because of his righteousness, right? Because he was the one that saw the burning bush, right? All these other people had a chance to see it. There were other people that could have came and saved the people. Moses was the one that answered the call. Everyone doesn't answer the call. Many are called, but few are chosen. Moses was chosen, and he followed the Most High.
They didn't call somebody everybody qualified.
Right.
Qualify the person.
Because you hear Moses like, I'm not qualified to speak in front of these people. I'm going to send somebody with you. Don't worry. You're going to be like a god to your brother. Don't even worry about it. I got you. You are going to be like a god to him. And you're going to see why I'm saying that here in a little bit. Keep going, though.
And thou shalt take this rod in thine hand, wherewith thou shalt do signs. And Moses went and returned to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said unto him, Let me go, I pray thee, and return unto my brethren which are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moses, Go in peace. The Lord said unto Moses and Midian, Go return into Egypt, for all the men are dead which sought thy life. And Moses took his wife and his sons, and set them upon an ass, and he returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took the rod of God in his hand.
Right. So he had the power, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like with it's kind of a play on which came after, like when you were just saying, we read that Moses was like a god to Aaron, and Aaron was his mouthpiece. It's like Hamashiach, being the mouth to our Abba Yah there, our Heavenly Father.
Exactly.
It's kind of a...
Because he always sends you out by two. So, like you said, the Most High has Mashiach. So, It's the same. It's the same pattern of the Most High, right? You want me? I'll read this one. It said, and Yahuwah said unto Moshe, when thou goest to return into Egypt, see that thou do all those wonders before Pharaoh, which I have put in your hand. But I will harden his heart, that he shall not let the people go. And you shall say unto Pharaoh, thus saith Yahuwah, Israel is my son, even my firstborn, not the world, but Israel. And I say unto you, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay your son, even your firstborn. So the Most High is telling Moses and Aaron to tell Pharaoh, if you don't let my people go, your firstborn is going to die. Go ahead.
So, just not contrast, just to unpack something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, go and talk to Pharaoh with what I gave you. But I'm going to make it where he don't listen to you.
Facts.
And I'm still going to kill everybody around him because he's not listening. Even though I made it to where he... Okay, let me use this pillow as an example. I made this pillow, but I made it for you, but I made it hard as a rock.
Yep.
That's what I struggle with understanding.
Why do you struggle with that?
He's like, I'm going to put you in front of the man that can free the people, but I'm going to make it to where he won't at all. And if he don't do it, then I'm going to kill his kid. That's my struggle.
Okay. You want to tackle that one or you want me to?
I can tackle that right there. That was also, he was showing that this is how hard-headed my people are. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to harden this man's heart because of your all's hard-headedness. So you'll definitely know that it's me that's in control.
Okay, now it makes sense. Because for the life of me, I'm like, if you put him in front of him, why won't you let the man listen? But now when you put it like that, it makes sense.
Okay.
Like, y'all are stupid.
Because of our stiff, still to this day,
Stiff-neckedness.
you stiff neck. Look at what's happening with this. I'm not gonna digress, but the election, people don't realize that this is all a setup. Still, and you still want to follow.
Nah.
You know, come on, guys. Really?
So, and even to take that a step further, like he said, our people are very stiff-necked. And our people, you okay?
Yeah, I just didn't see the leg of the bed.
Oh, you're good, you're good. Our people always need a sign, right? They need to... Our people were so bad at this point in wickedness that the Most High honestly had to scare the people to actually, okay, yeah. Because remember, he made himself known to all of our people. Everyone heard him. And it was like, hey, Moses, hey, won't you talk to the Most High for us? Right? Because our people... It's so strange. We go and seek in power from other sources, but we won't go to the actual source, right? We want to go in all the wrong places, all the wrong avenues, instead of actually humbling ourselves and praying, right? But the Most High, he knew that we had a stiff neck. Like, look, I'm gonna be to y'all an Elohim, and y'all gonna be to me a people. But I know, like, I have to show a strong hand with this people. Like, it wasn't even, he wanted to make his power known, don't get me wrong, but he knew I have to show strength to this people, or they're going to stay in captivity because they're comfortable, because it's their habit. It's literally in their DNA to continue to stay in this captive mind state, because the longer you stay in captivity, the harder it is for somebody to get out of that bondage, get out of that Sheol, that hell, right? For lack of a better term. So he had to show himself strong to the people, like, so they can realize, okay, well, this is our Creator. We sometimes we forget how great of a people we are because we've been in captivity for so long, right? So then he said, and I will slay your firstborn. And it came to pass, by the way, in the end, that Yahuwah met him and sought to kill him, or that a Lord met him and sought to kill him. Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet. and said, "Surely a bloody husband art thou to me," right? Because he didn't the whole time when he had his was it two son or his son, yeah, his sons, he didn't circumcise them, and he's the carrier of the covenant, right, of Abraham. If they should have been circumcised, right?
I thought that when is it? Was it 3 days after born?
No, eighth day. Supposed to have been circumcised, right? And so in that instance, his wife was more righteous than him because she went ahead and circumcised him, right? So we keep going. So he let them go, then said, "A bloody husband you are because of the circumcision." And Yahuwah said to Aaron, "Go into the wilderness to meet Moses." And he went and met him in the mount of Eluah and kissed him. And Moses told Aaron all the words of Yahuwah who had sent him, and all the signs which he had commanded him. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the children of Israel. And Aaron spake all the words which Yahuwah had spoken unto Moshe, and did the signs in the sight of the people. So he showed the leadership all of the signs. And the people believed. And when they heard that Yahuwah had visited the children of Israel, and that he had looked upon their affliction, then they bowed their heads and worshipped once they saw the signs, right? The signs of power that were coming. I'll plug that in right there. The signs of power. What'd you say? Yep.
You need help?
Yeah, will you plug this? It's on this side. Back there. I think it'll reach right there, if I'm not mistaken. I can move my chair back a little bit. See it right there? It's right behind that chair? Okay. So, now, because this is all about Moses versus the Egyptians or the serpents, right? But again, the first show of power or sign that Moses and Aaron would have showed the people was turning the staff into a serpent. Staff into a serpent. So we will continue. Come on. Oh, go back. Why I can't see this no more?
Symbolism is nuts.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to exit this and I'm going to go right back into it from current slide. Still not letting me see that. How do I? Okay. Right. So Exodus 7 now. So we read all of Exodus 4. And now we're going to Exodus 7. So we're going to read verses 1 through 13. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, "See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet." So before he said he made Moses a what? A god to who?
His brother.
To Aaron. Now he said that you are a god to Pharaoh. So first off, this is just me thinking right now. Why was it important for Moses to be a god to Pharaoh?
For a simple reason, because Pharaoh, the Egyptians had to have a visual. That's why they had all these gods of stone and wood, everything else, because they had to see with their eyes. That's why they would never understand that with us, spiritually, this is why we're more blessed than those that saw all the miracles, because of our faith.
Yeah.
And that comes from at that time, like I said, us being out of Egypt, we had the mindset we have to see these figures. So all the Most High was doing was showing him, giving him a figure, a man to go ahead and be his God.
Mm-hmm.
To go for him, because that's what they were used to seeing.
Mm-hmm. And also, like if you think about it, like in ancient cultures, wasn't a pharaoh basically considered a god to their people? He was venerated like a god.
Yeah, he was the morning shark.
Exactly. So he's like, you're gonna be God to him. So what's really going on? And this is just me thinking now or hearing now. What's really going on is this is a god versus a god. This is warfare going on.
Yeah.
That's why Moses came. The Most High told him on 2 different occasions, you are a God, or an El, a mighty one, a ruler, right? A chief with a staff in your hand, with authority. Now, the pharaohs also are considered gods to their people, right? A chief, a ruler, right? So we're going to keep going.
I have a question, but it's gonna
Go ahead. Go.
No, it's gonna come later.
Okay.
Later.
Thou shalt speak all that I command you. And Aaron your brother shall speak unto Pharaoh that he send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim, land of bondage. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt. The Most High wanted to do this thing to show himself strong, right? And bring forth mine armies, his people, and my people, the children of Israel, my staff, my firstborn, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahuwah when I stretch forth my hand upon Egypt and bring out the children of Israel from among them. So the whole purpose was to show himself strong, and because he wanted to punish Egypt. Now, why did he want to punish Egypt? Do y'all remember?
Because they've been taking his people.
Right. Giving us all this hard labor and, doing us wickedly and slaying us, right?
Sunday worship.
Sunday worship. The first captivity and the last captivity. Egypt, land of bondage is what it means, right? It's literally no difference. I want to say they found more pyramids in the Americas than they have in Africa.
Yeah.
Like the stuff is...
We talked about that, I want to say like 3-4 weeks ago.
Right. First captivity, last captivity. So we're going to keep going.
Yeah, Egypt was a world power.
You know
It
what,
was a world power.
I'm going to ask my question.
Go ahead.
I'm foreshadowing. Foreshadowing. Seeing something coming and speaking on it, or seeing something, when you see something coming, you're like, I see what you're trying to do there. So, the Most High said, I'm going to make you a God. You are a God to Aaron. You are a God to Pharaoh. What's the first commandment?
Thou shalt not have no other gods before me.
Who said it?
The Most High, he told Moses that. Why?
Moses said it.
Right.
That was my question. It was not if the Most High isn't who he is. But my question is, if if Moses is the one saying it, never mind. I just had I had a quiet moment.
Aaron got jokes.
No, I think that's where you
saying?
where you're coming from on.
It's like it's. I had this like complete thought in my head, but you know how you get little signs of maybe you shouldn't say that. You know, it was.
I think where you're coming from is because with the Most High, you're thinking that he's contradicting his word with making. Am I kind of getting there?
Kind of, yeah, but like when Moses came back down from the mountain, he was angry, livid.
Facts.
Livid, and when he gave them, the commandments. And that first one stands there. If I was God over Aaron, then over Pharaoh, does that make me over you now?
Who, the Most High?
No, not over the Most High. No, he ain't that stupid.
So who's the you then?
The people.
Okay, if the Most High had made... Okay, so remember when we did the lessons where we were talking about horns. Like, he went through a whole transformation. The people were scared of Moses. He was like a god to... If he was a god to Pharaoh and like that to Aaron, yes, he was like a god to the people.
That's what I was...
He was like one, but the thing about... So the word is Elohim. Angels are Elohim. Different mighty men become Elohim through righteousness also. So what's the psalm say? Is it not written in your law, I have said you are Elohim? Right? So... Or that mean which means this the word for God. It's Elohim.
I don't know the song. I don't know the song you were saying.
Psalm?
You were singing a song, wasn't it?
No, it's a psalm.
Psalm.
Psalm. It's in the book. It says, "Is it not written in your law? I have said you are gods." Right? But Moses had gotten elevated for righteousness' sake and for salvation's sake, right? Because he's like he was a kinsman redeemer coming to save his people. So what happens, like out of captivity, certain ones get risen up to save the people, so they become like that, right? But it's not something to worship. But when the word comes to them from the Most High, you better obey it. You better heed it. But again, it's not a worship thing. But they were scared of Moses. Don't get it twisted. That's why he had to put they call it a veil on their face, but it's more like one of those things like that because of the horns that was protruding out because of the transformation that was happening because he was around the Most High's energy like that. Like, there's a reason why humans are scared of angels, because you look at how they're depicted unless they make themselves look like us. That's a very scary sight. Like, man, you got seraphims or cherubims and all these different classes and the stuff that they can do. Got eyes everywhere, and bro, that stuff can get scary.
Might give you a heart attack when you say
yeah, that's because you see in Ezekiel and like all these other prophets where they talk about they see these things and then they just fall as dead to the ground, and then the angel of the Most High has to come to them and restore them to life because, man, with the Most High with his creations, that gets murky. But back to the point, yes, Moses was uplifted to a statehood of being like an Elohim, but it's not something for other people to worship. He would never tell them to worship him. He always told them to worship the Most High, right? So now it says, and Moses and Aaron did as Yahuwah commanded, so did they. And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron was 83 years old when they spake unto Pharaoh. Pharaoh means the great house. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, when Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle for you, then shall you say unto Aaron, take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. We talked about that. And Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, or the great house, and they did so as Yahuwah commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. So that made me want to look at it. He said Pharaoh was going to ask for a miracle. So what is a miracle? What's the definition of miracle? The Hebraic definition of miracle. Let me say that.
That I don't know.
got me on that one.
Oh, you good. Don't worry about it. Excuse me. So what's crazy about this word miracle?
Magic.
That's what I kind of like.
I mean,
Magic.
so this word miracle, I had to laugh when I read it. I was looking at it, I was like, this is how you should actually. So we say miracle in English, but the actual pronunciation of the word, it made me laugh. It's Mo Faith.
It's the way it's spelled.
Mo Faith. like our people say it. Right? we done forgot the R-E. Straight up.
Oh, man.
Mo Faith.
Oh man.
Fifth flow.
Show.
Mo Faith is how you pronounce it. Right? You can't make this up.
You can't forget that.
No, that's how you know we're the people. We talk like that. Yeah, I got more faith. I got more faith than you. Don't even say no R-E at all. It means wonder, right? Miracle. It's a sign, miracle, wonder, or portent. So portent is an omen of some future event that's coming. It can be good or it could be destruction, right? But when Pharaoh asked for more faith, well, show me the power of your God. I need more faith. Literally, I was like, you can't make that up, because a miracle is literally a sign or a wonder of Yahuwah that gives you more faith. So because Pharaoh didn't believe in the God of the Hebrews, he didn't believe in it at all. So verse 11, huh? Yeah. So I typed in magician, Egyptian magician, and then that was what popped up from his website. So then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers and the magicians of Egypt. They also did in like manner with their enchantments. A lot of times we gloss over that. But if the Most High is using this as an example of power, why didn't he just jump automatically to the one thing that they couldn't do? Because we read it before. He's trying to show his power, his glory. But how were the Egyptians able to duplicate taking a staff and turning it into a snake?
Why couldn't they? When there were fallen angels here that already taught them how to do it.
There you go.
Okay, but
The Pharaoh is second only to Amun-Ra.
right,
Somebody had to put that in his head, not necessarily his,
Right.
but his ancestors' head.
okay,
And they had to have taught them. They taught them weapons. They taught them makeup. They taught them. The Egyptians were wearing makeup. Dudes were wearing makeup before.
yeah, weirdos.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So when I say all that, I say all that to say this, to answer the question, and also,
Yep.
leaving a trail, right? I'm gonna harden his heart. He's gonna say no, only so I can get y'all attention because y'all being stupid. So he's gonna do everything that I'm doing to get y'all's attention because y'all already don't believe in me. So this is gonna make you not believe in me more. So now I'm gonna do something that he can't do. So y'all go, oh!
Is my staff over
Did
here?
I do that too far? That's over there.
Can you grab that for me real quick? Go ahead, Elder. My bad.
I was good at to kind of play off what Brandon was saying, but when you talk about more faith, miracles, and all that.
More faith.
You ever been to a magic show, man, out in Vegas?
No, I've never been to Vegas.
If you ever get opportunity,
No. Hold it over here.
go to one, you and Fiddle with, man. Because I'm tell you, some of that stuff is like, there's no way you say, no way this could be possibly, you know. And even to this day, I say a lot of that magic comes from those fallen angels.
Yep.
Because they even spoke of that, and we were talking about that not too long ago. A lot of that magic, because those fallen angels show man a lot of, and there's a lot of secrets. There's a lot of secrets that kind of pass down from generation to generation. And those folks ain't telling their secrets like that. We the ones that be telling our secrets.
Well, we tell everything.
Everything that we planning to do, but they ain't telling jack.
There was a lot of math and science that they were doing, and it wasn't math. Well, magic really isn't but math and science. With magician.
So, Brandon, I just need you to
They really
throw that
don't
down.
They really don't have
Yeah, it's gonna
any
wake him up,
powers.
right?
It's always
That's fine.
it's fooling people. They really
Just throw it
don't
down.
have any powers.
It's not no snake, bro.
So
But like you said, so it had to be taught by the fallen ones, right? In some kind of crazy way. Because it's not natural to be able to turn, even what Moses did. You got to have a power source behind you in order to do that, right? There's got to be, right? So that led me to think, so because it said that the wise men, sorcerers, and magicians, that's 3 different classes, right? So I was like, okay, so what did wise men mean there, right?
you gonna pick it up again?
No, you're good. You're good.
Don't wake him up.
No, he's up.
He's up.
No, he woke up. That's good. What did wise men mean? So this was really crazy because half of it's cut off, but it mean wise. It mean cunning, subtle. So who was the most subtle creature of all? It also means shrewd, learn, prudent. The words that define the serpent. So I was like, okay, all right, you really can't make this stuff up. So the wise men, at least, their descriptors is exactly like the serpent. So I was like, okay, because we know Genesis 3:1, that was how you defined it, right? A serpent, subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, prudent, right? So then we keep going. So then I was like, okay, what about what was the next one? The sorceress. We know that has to do with witchcraft. sorcerers, witchcraft. So snake, sorcery, witchcraft, and then magician. So the magician is Khartoum, and it means a diviner, magician, astrologer, engraver, writer, only in derivative sense of one possessed of occult knowledge.
Science.
Huh?
Back to the math and science.
Math and science, but it says possessed, not because I was over trying to wait, possessed of occult knowledge, or they possessed occult knowledge.
A horoscopist.
Right.
Horoscope,
So,
Ouija boards.
right, horoscope, Ouija boards.
No more.
So, but they would use all these other things, right? Because it wasn't just magicians; it was wise men, sorcerers, and magicians, and they all had different functions, but they were all still able to duplicate that same, I guess you could say, power. And talking about horoscopes, that's what a lot of people base their whole life around. Oh, my horoscope said that this was gonna happen. I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna be like that. This is all this bad's gonna happen. I'm like, man, y'all wild for that. That don't even sound right.
Now it's it's a sun chart, moon chart.
Oh man.
Apparently, I'm a Leo sun, something rising. I'm like, bruh, I'm me.
Yeah.
I just be like, all right, man, whatever. I mean, yeah.
What's up, Ken?
I
Will you pick him up? Bring him here. What you looking for, King? Come on. You don't see your mama? Yeah, you can bring her in. You can bring her in. What you want? What you want? So,
I'm crying.
why you crying, King? Why you crying? Why you crying? So, again, possessed, huh? Possessed of occult knowledge, because a lot of them, in order for them to perform miracles, they literally have to go through possessions. Say what?
That's crazy.
No, they have to, because it doesn't say they possessed occult knowledge. It said they were possessed of occult knowledge. So they go through these rituals, just like through dragon energy, serpentine spirits, and the next thing you know, all of a sudden, automatic writing, all this information comes out, or they're able to do this and they're able to do that because they're getting it from a different source.
All that blood,
Oh yeah,
baby blood.
baby's blood, bathing in it, and killing innocent children. Sometimes eating their pineal gland.
Your chicken foot and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, that's deep south right there. That chicken foot, African. So,
The Louisiana stuff.
oh yeah, Creole. So again, but again, so the first show that he gave them a power was the snake, turning into a snake. So I found this actually scholarly article from BYU, Brigham Young University. It's called Serpent Symbols in Salvation in the Ancient Near East and the Book of Mormon. We're not going to go over anything but Egypt, just to try to show y'all there was a reason why he had to use a snake, because they both cultures understood what was going on, right? If you don't mind, go ahead, bro.
Tom, me or Elder?
You got it.
The serpent as a dual polar symbol emerged in the cradle of civilization during the earliest periods of history. Serpent symbolism among the ancient Egyptians demonstrates the most glaring contrast between worship on the one hand and aberrance on the other.
Duality, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In Egypt, the snake was a
Ooh.
chthonic animal, a creature representing any one of a number of gods of the earth and underworld, and the embodiment of life-giving powers.
So remember, the serpent was cast down, right? And then the serpent represents the earth and the underworld. That even matches what we just read earlier, right? Keep going.
1. Attributing life-giving powers to snakes may have arisen in part from observing snakes shedding their skins, continuously exposing a new body in the process. Thus, one of the forms of the god Atum, believed to be a primeval creator deity, was the snake or serpent that continued to live season after season. That makes sense.
Right. So the head god for the Egyptians was a snake. Still, they understood what was going on. Keep going.
In a fascinating dialogue with Osiris, the Egyptian god of the netherworld and of final judgment, too, Atum predicts the destruction of the world he created and his own reversion back to the form of a serpent or a snake.
Mm-hmm.
As Henry Frankfurt says, the primeval snake survives when everything else is destroyed at the end of time. Thus, the serpent was strongly and continually associated with creation and external existence in the ancient Egyptian ethos. The Egyptians portrayed life itself by the image of the rearing serpent, and a serpent biting its tail was a common Egyptian emblem for eternity. I've seen that in so many different places other than that. I never seen that in Egyptian stuff. I've only seen it in everything else other than Egyptian.
It's in Egyptian stuff.
Only animals I remember seeing in Egypt was the Doberman Pinscher, the eagle, let me see, the gator, the hippo. I don't remember seeing a snake.
So
The crow.
I don't know about a crow. I know about the eagle, or maybe it might have been a crow.
because you got to think, man, like especially American and
The
these,
snake is all
it's everywhere.
wrapped around the columns and all.
Oh,
It's
every- bro.
I didn't even think about that.
Man,
It's so subtle.
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 Ironic.
So now you're talking about the snake that was biting its tail, right? Eternity. So before we get there, dragons in some traditions are considered cosmic serpents. They coil around the world or the universe, often guarding something of immense value. These dragons or serpents are boundary keepers between the known and unknown, the mortal realm and the divine. This is what they believe. Not just Egyptians. I'm talking, this is like the New Agers into this dragon stuff. They symbolize the mystery of existence and often serve as a conduit for profound spiritual experiences. This cosmic serpent archetype offers a deeper philosophical layer, pushing us to ponder existential questions and the greater mysteries of life. Now, you were talking about that snake that was biting its tail. You know what that snake's called?
Ouroboros.
The Ouroboros.
Ain't that the same one
That's-
all the doctors and... No, that's
That's a different one. I'm pretty sure it's a different one. It could be the same one, but
it's like...
it's not biting its tail, though.
No, it's just two heads coming together.
You're right. There's two different ones. It says the Ouroboros is an ancient symbol of a dragon or serpent eating its own tail, representing the cycle of life, was what they believed, death and rebirth. This powerful symbol speaks to the continuity of existence and the eternal nature of the soul. Dragons often serve as metaphors for these cycles, reminding us of the impermanence of life and the interconnectedness of all things. So even the New Agers, they believe the same thing that the Egyptians did, because there's nothing new under the sun at all. Like, there's all kinds of snake worship all throughout the land. And so when our people were mixing in with their people for 400 years, you got to think, what kind of wickedness was we really getting into? They were literal snake worshipers. So our people were doing the same thing. That's why the first thing the Most High had to show them was, look, we'll turn this into a snake, and when you go to Pharaoh, your serpent will eat his serpents up, because I am greater than his God. This is what the Most High was trying to show from the beginning, right?
That's it.
Say what?
That's it.
Yeah? Okay. Go ahead, Brandon.
Another primeval deity mentioned in the pyramid text is Amun, one of whose two primary representations was that of the snake named Kemetef, meaning he who has completed his time. After the 11th dynasty, the Egyptian Middle Kingdom, Amun appeared as the god of the capital of Thebes and eventually merged with the sun god to become known as Amun-Ra, the supreme state god in the New Kingdom, 1550 to 1090 BC. At Karnak, it was believed that Amun-Ra and his divine consort, the goddess Mut, gave birth to a son named Khonsu.
This is the Trinity.
Wait. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just I'm a Marvel nerd, and I'm seeing a lot of stuff.
Names that are
here
close.
that are in Marvel that I'm like, I see what they did there. Mut is also symbolized as a snake and is called Mut the resplendent serpent. Resplendent. Somebody look that word up. Look that word up.
Okay, go ahead. Resplendent serpent.
Thus, the divine triad or family, the preeminent unit of social organization among the gods and humans according to the Egyptian worldview, was linked to the image of the serpent.
So, was linked to the image of the serpent. So, really, Moses was really going against the Trinity. It's really what he was going against. A triad. Snakes.
Resplendent means. Wait, hold on. How's that? E-N-D-E-N-T?
Mm-hmm.
Someone or something that is resplendent, has great beauty, and is a pleasure to behold.
Yeah, because they loved the snake. They worshipped it. So 400 years, well, between Canaan and Egypt, worshiping that.
That's the truth.
Go ahead. Huh?
I mean, I know you just said that, but like, I
that's
caught up for it. It took a second for it to, like, I heard it, and then it was like, oh, that's it. You know what I'm saying? It hit me like. Anyway, the close ties between birth, the goodness of the gods, rebirth, and the image of the serpent infused Egypt during all of her early historical periods down to the end of the New Kingdom. When corn was harvested and grapes pressed into wine, an offering was made to the harvest goddess Thermuthis, who was depicted as either a snake or a woman with the serpent's head. Why does that sound like, what's her name?
Medusa?
Yeah, that lady. Geb, the god of the earth and the father of the gods, is referred to as the father of snakes that emerge from the earth. It is also significant, given Egyptian obsession with the quest for eternal life, that the snake became a symbol of survival after death, even resurrection among the ancient Egyptians. In the Egyptian Book of the Dead, sometimes referred to by its more precise title, the Book of Going Forth by Day, that's long. We are told that transformation into a serpent upon death gives new life to the deceased person.
Right. So again, everything that the serpent represented was power. Life and death. You have supreme power.
It's a constant, you never die. You just evolve.
Like you said, you're just reborn.
Huh.
You're just reborn. That's what they believed.
Veneration of serpents or snakes in pre-dynastic Egypt and during the Old Kingdom coalesced around the most important serpent goddess of Lower Egypt. Wajet, meaning green one, was the general Egyptian term for cobra, and in that form she became the symbol of royalty and unification.
So now a snake means royalty and unification. Go ahead, Elder.
Alright, but isn't that I thought you read Phoenix? Isn't that supposed to be the same thing with that dragon? Is that I'm trying to remember.
You talking about the phoenix?
Phoenix is a bird.
Yeah, that's a bird. Yeah.
I didn't think.
You good?
My bad.
But it could very. I mean, it could very.
Like the out of the ashes.
It could very well be that the bird was transformed from a dragon.
Could.
Because dragons theoretically breathe fire and they rise out of the ashes.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Wajet, cobra, or Uraeus, became a generic Egyptian ideograph for the concept of immortality. Thus, the pharaoh was described as the living years of the Uraeus. Wajet was attached to the royal crown as protectress of the king or pharaoh, and in the end became the Eye of Ra. Oh, there is a snake on the thing.
Have you ever paid attention to their headgear?
It's right there.
It's a snake.
It's a cobra.
Now you got it.
It does.
Yes.
The green one, the serpent, Wajet, embodied the forces of growth and health. Significantly, green was the color that symbolized resurrection in ancient Egypt. That's why there's a lot of green stuff over there.
Mm-hmm.
Green.
In
Green.
opposition to all that was good in ancient Egypt, the most preeminent of all the demons, evil gods, or evil powers was Apophis, who was represented by a snake. Everybody got a snake.
So hold on. So now this is all in Egypt during different periods, right? So if you remember when we were talking about Trump and the Trump prophecy, there was this prophecy that some pastor had that there would probably be like an asteroid called Prophecies coming to hit the earth. I think it was either 2029 or 2035, something like that. But it was called the same name as this because everything goes back to them worshiping this nonsense, right? Keep going, my bad.
Apophis, who was represented by a snake. Apophis was the serpent of darkness, the supreme opponent of the great sun god Ra. The Egyptian Book of the Dead fairly crawls with other serpent demons as well, sometimes winged or rearing up, occasionally even standing on legs and spitting fire. That sounds familiar.
Sounds like a dragon, right?
Yeah, and yet the serpent demons are not more powerful or overpowering than those serpent deities in charge of the forces of good. For example, counterbalancing Apophis is the snake Mehen, the coiled one, who was the helpful attendant of the sun god Ra. Mehen assisted Ra on his journey through the realms of night so that he would reemerge unharmed morning after morning, day by day. Thus, the plans of a supreme spiritual adversary, represented by a serpent, were foiled by the powers of good, also represented by a serpent. You know what I caught about that?
What's that?
Okay, so old martial artist stuff coming back.
Yeah.
It's always best in a fight to stay coiled. It's always best in a fight to let them strike first, because it gives the defender the opportunity to see what the opponent's doing, how they move. So with that Apophis striking first or chasing the coiled one always has the upper hand, even though they got struck first. They have the upper hand, seeing that the person's offense, how they move, they know now how to defend. And in this case, I guess they're running away.
Sometimes, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Mike Tyson in his prime, I'm not getting. Look, bro, you only gonna get one chance, one shot. That's it. Look at you, looking for something to grab, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Boy. So cool. Okay, so we're almost done with this part. Go ahead.
The serpentine spirit has been a stronghold to mankind and our people from the beginning. This is not just a battle, but a full-scale war, and you have to stay armed for their attacks. Armed. Nice.
Literal.
Serpentine strongholds are spiritual fortresses erected by the enemy to maintain control and influence over individuals, families, communities, and even nations. They are characterized by deception, darkness, and bondage.
So serpentine strongholds are literal fortresses, right? Like spiritual wickedness in high places, right? And they literally control us. They've been doing this the whole time. Were you gonna say something? No? Okay.
No, I was coughing.
And bondage. So I'm gonna read the next one. So it said, individuals, families, communities, and even nations, they are characterized by deception, darkness, and bondage. They take root in our lives through fear, lust, addiction, doubt, that's a big one, pride, unforgiveness, and through generational curses. And again, so in the first captivity, we were dealing with that for, however long we were actually in Egypt. In this captivity, how much greater? Because we've been here for the whole 400 years this time. We weren't in Egypt for 400 years. It was at most 215, between 215 years and 144 years. The most we were actually in the land of Egypt.
I was there for 400.
So the scripture says 430 years, but the newer versions took out that we sojourned in the land of Canaan and the land of Egypt, because we didn't move there until Joseph took over. And according to that and doing math, we're only there maybe 215 years in actual Egypt. But we've been here 400 years. And them generational curses is hard because of the entities behind us, and because a lot of times we don't know how to fight it. A lot of us weren't given examples. We were just told to roll with the punches. And again, we just didn't have good examples of what...
We were told not to do certain things, but we didn't know why.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of that.
You didn't know why, you just do.
Right, yeah. You're going to do it because I said so, right?
That's it.
Because had a family member was telling us about like stuff that, he dealt with as a child, and how he's doing everything in his power as a man to not have that generational curse continue. Because from his childhood, his father was not in the picture. His mama had to wear both hats. And so she became overworked with like 6 children. And she wasn't perfect because she came from a broken home. But he is striving to break that cycle, to break the generational curses, right? And going back to Exodus before, because we're probably going to cut this short. So the Most High sends Moshe and Aaron to save us. What made the Most High send us Moses, Shemaiah, and Aaron to save us?
We needed saving. We look how far we fell. I mean, look at our condition. We've been going downhill since the last this is the fifth. We're in that fifth, according to the statue of the vision of Daniel. We're in that fifth legs of iron and feet of clay. We've been going downhill all the way to where we are now, to where we're at now, in the miry clay.
But I'm talking in context of ancient Egypt when we were in captivity. What made the Most High come and save us?
Two-part. One.
You say Tupac? He wasn't rapping back then.
Two-part. One. He stepped up to the plate.
Okay.
The most unexpected. Just in my opinion. One, he stepped up.
He stepped up.
Two, he wasn't what anybody would see coming. Okay. Nobody would see him coming.
Okay, what do you think, Elder?
Because of the promise.
Which is true.
With our great fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and saying that he was going to have a covenant people set aside. Well, in order to have a covenant people, you got to lay down some certain rules and certain foundation, have a foundation for these people to go by. And at that time, when Moshe came along, I don't think we was acting too holy.
No.
At that time, teacher, I don't think we was.
No. We mixed in with them for 400 or for 200 and some years. We was doing the same stuff they was doing. They worshiping snakes, we was worshiping snakes too. Just like, fast forward to like the 13, 14, 1500s over in West Africa, they end up finding us worshiping snakes also, right? And then the tribe of Dan worshiping snakes also. So, for some reason, we always want to worship the thing that made us fall in the beginning, or the image of the thing that made us fall, right? So the answer to my question was, what made the Most High actually save us? You got to go to Exodus 2, verses 23 through 25. And I'm probably going to make these two my last slides. Because, did he? He ready to eat. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto the Most High by reason of the bondage, and the Most High heard their groaning, and the Most High remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And the Most High looked upon the children of Israel, and Eloah had respect unto them. So when you look up that word cry, we talked about this years ago. It's za'ak. So to za'ak is to cry, to assemble, to be called, gathered together. It means to call, to cry, to assemble, but it also means to summon. So we started crying out from the bondage, right? In one mind. Even though we were in wickedness, we will assemble together and cry out to the Most High with one intent, to be saved, to have deliverance. So he sent us Shemaiah. So he sent us Moshe so that we can be saved. We don't be understanding that our battle cry literally summons the Most High on our behalf, right? It's one of our most powerful weapons. That's why you, again, because Scripture says, I got to finish this part at least. Hold on, King. So talking about the battle cry. So it's a potent weapon in spiritual warfare, right? One that goes understated. It's not a mere shout or a chant. It's a declaration of war. So we were crying out together. So that made the Most High put on his war garments, if you will, his war mind. Okay, so now they're ready to be saved. Because remember, Scripture says that he's ready to save, right? He says that his hand is stretched out still. His arm is not straightened or shortened to where he cannot save us. But if we don't cry out to the Most High in one accord together, that's what keeps us in captivity, right? So it's a declaration of war, a proclamation of our allegiance to the King of Kings. When we raise our voices in unity, declaring the name of Yahushua, the enemy trembles. Because again, it's not just one person anymore. Like now we're a tribe crying out to the Most High. And once the tribes came together and then they became a nation crying out to the Most High, he sends Moshe. We get delivered. I'm going to end it right there because, yeah, I still got like almost 100 slides. But for today, that's good. So, did that make sense? Sorry, that was a little long today. Apologies for that. So, Father, we just ask for you to forgive us of our sins as always, Father. Thank you for your word, which endures forever, Father. Thank you for your love, which covers all sins, Father. We just ask for you to send healing to all those that cry out to you. And Father, we renounce any and all serpentine spirits, any and all generational curses, any and all monitoring spirits, Father. Anything that could be hindering us from the purpose that you have set for our lives, Father. And we thank you for our tribe. We thank you for our people. We thank you for our family, Father. We thank you for our loved ones. We thank you for those that truly love us for us and not trying to see what they can get from us, Father. We just ask for you to continue to help us to prep for the days ahead, Father. And we're so grateful to be alive. Thank you for this day that you have set aside for us so we can learn and love you, Father. All these things we do ask and pray in the name of your beloved Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen. So again, that was fair use. This is YAH'S Assembly. So please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like and share our content. And as always, until next time, peace, family. Whoa.